Yes, my last chance to promote AuditTrail Harvest 2025. Yes. So you can still join AuditTrail Harvest 2025 in Prague. If you still haven't got your ticket, there is a few days left until you can get it, and let's hope that we will meet you there. And all of our speakers are getting ready for their talks, and we will have a panel discussion as well, and also a dinner at the first night, so it's really worth it to join.
Cool. Can I still register?
Sorry?
Can I still register?
Yes. Yeah, and yes, I would really appreciate if you would register.
Do it for me.
Oh,
You
I
click.
can't.
You click. Boom.
I can't do it for you, unfortunately.
I have to do everything. So sad. Okay, thank you.
But it takes like 2 minutes, so don't worry about it.
We'll see. Thank you, Victoria. See you next week.
See you.
Last week I didn't go over. Nothing happened. We just did the status. What do we have today? No new faces, so no new demos. Right? And maybe some topics. Status. What's up in the repo? Orchard 1 super active, Benedek, some Gabor, a lot of Benedek. Everything is changing, fixing bugs, VS Code, I don't even know what it means. VS Code cleanup. Like some formatter analyzers that tells you, hey, you don't need that. Okay, sure. Fixing bugs, all the good things. Orchard core. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we actually? 28. Oh yeah, this changed. 28. So that was the last thing. Then main branch on the left. And this one, this update. Fix feature assignment for IShapeTableProviders. Yeah, we approved a lot of PRs from George. So now lots of merges. IShapeTableProviders, assignments. There was a bug. He's not the one. Maybe. Nope, that was backported. Oh, okay, I see. Assignments of IShapeTableProviders. Now they are assigned to their features. That's the change.
It was possible that the ShapeTableProvider ends up in the wrong feature.
Good. Fix leaking semaphore in LocalLock. That was reverted, and maybe.
No, that was another one which was reverted, and I also merged it again with a fix. It was just some test missing. Yeah, we will see.
Don't parse placement files multiple times in case a module has multiple features, and the module has a placement file. Now all the features will reuse the same placement parsing. Because now it's cached. Easy one. Refactor FeatureAttribute for improved clarity and maintainability. No more to list, because you don't need that. What else? Remove some constants that are mostly used once. Well, nothing here, just documentation. Yeah, just cute code changes. So nothing.
Yeah, there was some interesting pattern used with the get values method there. I removed that.
Get values. Yeah, that's weird. Get values. Oh, it's plotting, so you can put one value or multiple values. It's the opposite of string values. It's just give me what you want, and I will give you an enumerable.
Yeah, but it just returns the array given to it and yields it back. So
okay,
there's no value.
Cool. Job, fix shape table concurrency and improve caching efficiency.
That's the one you reverted.
Yeah.
I added it back. It was just because I merged it without taking into account that a new unit test was added before merging it. I should have.
I see. So yeah, I was like, this is the one that was reverted. So yeah. This one was.
I should have merged main back into the PR before merging it to main.
So this one is different then. Name semaphores. Okay, so because this one had issues, because you could share the logs. Okay, so this is an actual fix.
This is just a minor fix in the LocalLock. If it's timing out, it was kept forever, but it should not really matter because it should never time out.
Okay,
it's just something I saw.
This one which was reverted, so I skipped there. Fix table caching. No, see the full. Okay, default tenant only. Features cannot be enabled in non-default tenant, which was already the case before.
Not really. It was just hidden from the UI, but it was never actually enforced somewhere. And we had, for example, the application and all the default features of the application were also marked as default tenant only, but they were always enabled in other tenants as well.
Okay, and how we test that is we ship and we see people complain.
Yeah, this may break people because if you depend on a default tenant only feature and enable it in another tenant, it will not break.
Yeah. Then we will ask more questions.
Yes.
Proper register key management options for protection data. Yes, so we debugged that with Mike last week, and Mike was seeing some logs about an XML data protection file that was saved, and that was not, the user should not do that. That's what the log was saying. But Mike is using Azure. data protection. So it should not even go to this log. And the reason is because all the configuration options are registered, and the one that will check the XML file is also run. So what we do now is when the Azure one is registered, it's removing any previous configure option, previous key management option that were defined, like the default one that we do use, where we do use the XML one. So the warning is removed. Fix shape, that's the revert, and it comes back here. So add trailing comma, it's nothing to do with that. We don't care. Fix shape table concurrency. This time it works.
So it worked before, but it was just I added a new test in a different PR and didn't adjust it. So
use a LocalLock to lock how the shape table is created, and then here get shape table. If it's in the cache, then we return it. Otherwise, we use the lock with this method that does the lock and then try to get it and save it. Does it get shape table? Does it work actually? Lock, you lock. Sure. You try to get the value.
It's using iLocker.
If you get the value, you return it. If you don't get the value, you build it. And building will add it to the list.
Building will add it to a static.
It does.
Dictionary. Yes.
Cool. When you say static dictionary, well, it's a singleton.
Yeah, it's a singleton coming from the tenant.
Okay, good.
Container. This is now not allocating anything in the after the shape table has been built.
Non-breaking dependency versions, AWS, benchmark.net. This thing, release 2.2, do not overwrite binding source when it's already added, because you said people had reported it, or maybe something was broken, so you want to fix what was broken.
Yeah, this is the backport of the fixed one last week.
And it's good you're also backporting the test. Well, because you backport the PR.
To fix the test again.
Suppress finalization in dispose method.
Yeah, there was a warning in release 2.2 branch, so it was failing the tasks.
Or because there is an analyzer for the tests themselves that are disposable. Interesting that if you call dispose, then don't finalize it. But there is
this warning is not not on the main branch anymore, so
that's weird.
I missed that.
It's a weird warning. And main branch update elastic. Cool. Okay, thank you. Anyone wants to look into something? PRs, issues, discussions. Mike is watching soccer, apparently. Okay, and Antoine also is watching soccer. Antoine had one job, which was to remind me there was a soccer game. I'm glad I didn't need that, I knew. But Antoine, next time, you should tell me. So we were looking into Orchard Core. And PRs. Let's look at issues just before, in case there are, because George made so many things that he forcibly broke some stuff. So let's look if there is any new thing. Nope, just
not yet. not yet.
That's good.
I guess it's coming.
And you're like, how did they get that? Or why didn't we catch it before? Or how can you reproduce that? It's not possible. We went through everything, every user. PRs. Oh, that's the alignment inheritance. We'll look at it and we can discuss about it. That is. That's the name. Accessibility. Sync user table. PRs. Moving stuff. Parser stuff. Security stuff. Okay. This one issue is about the flow part. When you, let's look at the issue. That was a better screenshot than here. If you have the flow part with a widget that contains more widgets, and you define an alignment on the widget, it's not a text alignment, it's a widget alignment, as in where will the widget snap, or what's the size it will take, how it will be rendered in the zones, in the columns of the container widget. And you can say, oh, this is German, George, right?
Yes.
You can read it. I can't.
Linksbündig, zentriert, rechtsbündig, Blocksatz.
Sure, which must mean like left, center, right, and justified. Okay. Whatever.
Yeah, you can read German, right?
So good. So these are the 4 values that you can set, and this user wants a 5th value, which is inherited, which is not in German here. That will mean that if you set a value on the container, then whenever you change it, all the children will have the same value. Like if you say go to the left, everything will go to the left without changing its value. It just says I take whatever value the parent was. And if you don't like it, then you force a value. That's what this user wanted. Dankeschön. Okay, just a small comment. Get content.
I think it makes sense in general. The assets are not correctly built, but this is hard for every new contributor.
This is the generated HTML. That's the good pattern job. But that's weird that it appears there now. That we don't have that. Maybe the default value, that's a new thing.
That's a new thing, yes.
Okay. Okay, we'll see with more feedback. What else do we have? Sync user ID colon length in AuditTrail table with other. What? Okay. I assume this works. Resizing a table should work. I'm thinking maybe we should just store a hash, but we don't today, so. Cool. And nothing else. Any topics? Any questions? This one is still going on, nothing new since last week. The only thing new is I'm updating Parlot because there is a new version of Parlot. A new version of Parlot. That is important for this PR because it's supporting comments now. There are rules for comments. It's beautiful. And this is a feature also that our friend Lempersky, I don't remember his name, wanted. So now you can do, when you have a parser, you can do with comments, the same as with whitespace or whitespace, whatever. You can say, oh, my comments, they are a single line comment, like dash dash something. It's funny because I use dash dash for all the single line comments. I never tried a slash slash, for instance, which is in C#. Hash, like in Python, so this is JavaScript. No, this is what language does that? SQL. SQL does that. YAML, Python, multi-line everywhere. SQL, C#, Python. I assume Python does that also. Multi-line, so multi-line meaning you can have as many lines of spaces between that, it will be commented. And then hello world, if there is dash dash and a new line, then it will be ignored. So that's beautiful. So that's a feature that will be required for SQL because the tests in this branch right now are failing on the test and so very badly failing. So that's a feature. And there will be also a new Fluid version with some changes soon released. So this one and this one. So two important changes. This one replaced JsonWriterOptions with JsonSerializationOptions, but for you, it's not even replacing it because we didn't update with this thing. So now it's just, there is a new JsonSerializationOptions for the JSON filter. So now we can customize how the JSON will be rendered, like indented or not, or if there are some custom types that need to be serialized differently, or a property, you can access the JSON serialization option. And this will be reused, which was not the case before. So that's even better. That will be the next version. And this one, something we might want to include in our template editors, which is detect undefined variables. How it works is, I think I have some doc here. How it works is that a template context or template option has an undefined property. So whenever a callback. So whenever a property, a name, whatever is not defined in the model, then this callback will be invoked, which means we can, for instance, detect all the things that are not available in the template, record the values, and then when it's rendered, we can say a warning, for instance, log a warning, such that on the website we'll see that some templates use undefined things, or we can throw an exception, or we can just return there is a validation error when we edit a template. So that might be super useful to catch like undefined properties. And how it works is you need to render a thing, and when it's rendered, any property that is being accessed during this rendering and that doesn't exist, was not defined, then we'll trigger that. Up to us to say how we want to handle that. Oh, and the thing also we can do is, if we don't want to generate an error, that was the user who wanted that, you can just return a custom value. Like if a variable is not defined, you can render, this is a placeholder for the variable foo that was not defined. So you can see when it's rendered that the value that it was not defined, instead of, if we don't want to use validation or logging, or we might want to do all the three of them depending on the context. Like on release, do some log. When we edit a template, detect the issue doesn't work, and when we debug, like render something on the UI, saying, hey, you didn't define that. Or the variable you are trying to use maybe has a typo, or whatever. Okay, so this is what's explained here. So maybe this thing, I believe, will find its way in Orchard, definitely. And the next thing to come is a major version that removes that. I've been working on that for a long time, but never merged it. It's working. This is removing MemberAccessStrategy, which means that the main difference is you never have to register something anymore. It's anything that you pass in the model will be available. If you want something to not be available, you just create a projection of that. You map it to a different class, to a view model. You don't set it in the template. Otherwise, it can be accessed as a property still.
That is so nice.
Because
I think we're registering it everywhere in our codes.
Yeah, because nobody actually tries to hide something from the hierarchy. Because even if they wanted to do, they would not trust the thing. They would create a custom projection. So this is mostly a pain. And it also hurts performance somehow, so this will be better. You can still provide a custom strategy that will do something like, oh, if a property is doing that, then, or is named that, then I don't return it. So there is still a name strategy behind, but the default one just doesn't limit anything. And there is no tool to limit something. You provide your own strategy. Strategy being, give me an object, give me a property, and it returns an accessor on this property. If it returns null, it means, no, you can't access the property. So mostly, but it's a big breaking change because the thing doesn't exist. Well, I could make it like obsolete and then just do nothing. But the behavior is a big breaking change. I mean, if you don't hide something, then it won't break anything. It will just work. Yeah, I should clean some things here. I should not comment test. That's bad. Okay, that's what's coming next. Anything else? Okay. Then.
Just several weeks ago, you talked about performance in Orchard Core.
So what did you do?
I did not really anything, but I just wanted to ask you something.
Okay.
Because by default in Orchard Core, we are logging everything to the console. And I just want to understand if this is also the case in the benchmarks.
What do you mean? We are logging everything in the console. We are not. What do you mean? It can mean many things.
So the default launch settings, which are in the Orchard Core project, will have the environment development, and it logs at the debug level to the console.
But if we do a publish release, it won't use this development. app settings, right? And also the way it started, it's
what I
not using
wanted
the
to
launch
ask you,
settings.
because I've just tried to understand how these benchmarks are run.
Let's run a benchmark. Because it's easy. Let's run them on Windows. Don't look at my password. Let's run them on Windows and see what's happening. Can we zoom that thing? Yeah, we can zoom that thing so we can see actually what's happening. So this is waiting for a job. So let's run a job. The job we will run is, by the way, which one is the... So apparently it's broken on Windows, so that will be an opportunity to fix it because it doesn't run on Windows since like 2 weeks ago. So that's bad. So I will pick the last run just to get an idea of the command line that was used. And I will paste that and do some cleaning because we don't need all of these. Like I don't have to pin the version of the SDK. We don't want to reproduce exactly this run. And I don't want to collect the list of dependencies. I do want the net counters. I do want to run in the net 10. I do want to don't touch the global JSON or to touch it. I don't remember what it means. I do want to run on ASP.NET Perf Win. I do want to use SQLite. I want that. I don't want the CI profile. I don't want the Azure profile. And I want that. So in the end, it's much simpler. I just seeing where the scenario is defined. I want an extra statistic that is explained here. And that's it. So I will do that. Enter. And it will start something. Okay. Submitting a job to this machine. So if I go to the machine, oh, the machine got the job. So what is it doing? Cloning Orchard, installing and or checking what versions of the framework and the runtime we have. It says it needs to install this SDK, which is the latest build, nightly build of the .NET 10 SDK, which releases next week. So next week during the Orchard Harvest, there is Orchard Harvest, there is the update conference, there is .NET release, there is .NET Conf. Just let's make everything at the same time. If you don't know what to do, Aspire ships also, sure. So the command line, so now it's installed, now it's running the command line, which is .NET publish, the CS proj -c release. With this version. So that's what it does. If you want to repro, it's doing a .NET publish, the CS proj -c release. If you can still see logging, you will see, but you will see here there is no logging because if there is logging, it should appear here if it was on the console log. And nothing happened. Well, it failed, so nothing happened, sorry. So why did it fail? Processing job instead failed. So the failed to build or start. So now I can check actually. Yeah, it failed completely on build. So now it will tell me, oh, that's why. But why does it work on Linux then? It says some packages are not available. No, it fails to find what? A runtime? It fails to find one of the runtime that were pinned. That's bad. Why? I can fix it, but that's interesting. So actually we need these versions. Let's try again. little bit of knowledge. You see this version here. This is the same as this one, which is the same as this one. This is new since this year because ASP.NET used to be in its own repository. Runtime used to be in its own repository. SDK used to be in its own repository. And each build was independent. And the SDK build would be a new build, but pulling one build from ASP.NET and one build from the runtime. So there was lots of dependencies, like, oh, the ASP.NET is pulling runtime, the SDK is pulling ASP.NET and the runtime. So it's a lot of things. But now there is a single repository in .NET, so the repository .NET/.NET, that pulls everything and builds one thing at a time, or at the same time. So everything now that we pull is from the same build, from this repo. That contains everything, the VMR, the virtually monolithic repository. That's why now all the versions are the same, at least for the build. So it's building, it says. Is it building? It's building. And it's still failing. Oh boy. It's the same error nearest found. What is this? Unable to find package, Microsoft ASP.NET Core runtime win. I'm confused. Okay, let's do it on the .NET 9. That's a different issue that I will have to look into. The .NET 9. Why just Windows? Maybe because this package was not published. Building. Building is slow. Or is it me? No, it's the build. Oh, it doesn't show the build log in the console, so we can see what it's doing right now. I can then F5. Yeah, the build log is projected to a different buffer, and then there is the run log that we'll see. Still building. Building. This is slow.
Yeah. It's a lot of projects.
Still building is crazy. Should have used a different machine. But that. Teams, okay, that's the end. Targets, okay, we are reaching the end. Okay, transaction files, exit code 0. So the build is done. Now it's running the app. I started the load, I believe. So you see here, info, lifetime, info, lifetime. So this is a console log from the app, and you don't see anything else here. And we'll be able to see that also from the
Great,
command line.
thank you.
Just for that. So running, if I look at the output, we see exactly what is outputted on the console. And it's just info level. So hosting environment production.
Yeah, that's good.
So when you publish, and I don't know which one triggers, if it's the publish or if it's the release, then hosting is production, and then it will use whatever settings for the production app settings. And yeah, so it's not using the launch, whatever.
Very good, thank you.
And if you have some DLLs after to benchmark, so you see we have the result, like the request per seconds when it's done, startup time, and the request per second, which is there. In this case, 11,000 on this machine, the 12 cores machine. So if you have a DLL, I can just type that and say like -- application, and then some DLLs, it's output files, and then give a bunch of DLLs that you build, and it will just use them and run the benchmark with that changes, so we can see the difference. That's it. And this is broken. I need to fix it. Cool. Good?
Good, thank you.
Anyone else?
I'm going to send you a quick question on Teams after the meeting if you have time just to answer.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. See you soon. Oh, and no meeting next week, neither on the Tuesday or the Thursday. Okay.
Next week, but this week on Thursday?
Oh, Thursday, yes. This is good,
Yeah, okay.
but just next week.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.